Think for a moment how much the world has changed over just the past 100 years. Change has occurred exponentially fast in that time. How we communicate, how we think, how we make daily, even minute-by-minute decisions. The past century plus has been a blur of forward movement. Now, pause. Have our schools kept pace with this change? Many students, especially those in our major cities and rural communities, attend schools saddled with inadequate buildings, outdated technology, and limited resources. The impact of behavioral psychology during the 1940s and 50s influenced education in a way that focused schools and teachers on managing classroom behavior in a superficial way. We still feel the negative impact of this approach on the culture of our schools, as it de-emphasizes the importance of relationship, authentic engagement, and social-emotional learning. We need to reset the definition of intelligence. Intelligence is diverse, it's dynamic, it's distinct. Diversity in intelligence is multifaceted. It's social, spatial, visual, even musical, which leads to how dynamic intelligence is. Intelligence wants to interact and integrate with other fields to create new ideas, and it's distinct for each person. It's athletic, artistic, academic, business-minded, sales-driven. The possibilities are endless, but distinctly unique for each individual. It's this definition of intelligence, grounded in brain-based research, that has led us to create Kids First, a movement that will transform the way America cares for and educates its children.
Bringing you the latest now on the coronavirus emergency.
Many schools around the world, as you know, have shut down, some for extended periods of time.
2020 will be forever related to both the COVID-19 pandemic and a renewed call for equality in America. The pandemic caused our education system to come to a screeching halt. It brought to light the glaring inadequacy of the current system to meet the needs of the whole child and to meet the basic educational needs of the most vulnerable children. It's time we reimagined education. Imagine a school that takes into account the diversity of intelligence and builds that learning plan around the gifts and talents of each child. Imagine if schools looked like this, featuring enhanced physical environments that stimulate the intellect, touch emotions, and excite the senses. Imagine a school that engages in cross-collaboration to meet the needs of kids and their families, including food support, school-based mental health, high-speed internet, job training, life skills, music, drama, art, and athletics for all levels of ability. Imagine if schools had flexible cultures that made decisions based on the context of the situation rather than a culture rooted in bureaucracy. Imagine if we went back to seeing the purpose of our schools the way American philosopher, psychologist, and education reformer John Dewey did. To produce citizens who participate in the democratic process, are reflective, independent, and ethical beings capable of arriving at social truths through critical thought and discussion, while nurturing the many talents and interests needed for the unforeseeable future. We aren't just imagining this at the Children's Guild, we're doing it. How? By educating the whole child. By making sure that every child starts the school day ready to learn. Parents, educators, school board members, and legislators must work together to re-engineer school systems to collaborate with all child-serving public systems, including special education, child welfare, healthcare, housing, mental health, juvenile justice, and others. To facilitate this collaborative approach, we must measure what matters. It's time we stop defining successful education by a score on a standardized test. We must measure success in ways that prioritize the needs of a child through a whole child report card. We must evaluate a school by how well it prepares students to be as ready as possible for postgraduate opportunities by helping them gain access to 21st century apprenticeships, teaching children to reinvent themselves in a global economy where a robot or a foreign market may take a job from them. For this to work for our kids, it must work for our teachers. They deserve the resources and continuing education required for lasting change. The stakes could not be higher for our kids or for our country. Now is the time to transform the way America cares for and educates its children. Be a part of this transformation. Learn how at kidsfirstamerica.org. It's time to put kids first.